this lesson, we'll explore a core linguistic concept that underlies how we analyze text corpora, syntagmatic relations. As we transition from corpus topology and design into the mechanics of working with text data, it's important to understand the relationships that hold language together. To ground this concept, let's take a moment to revisit one of the foundational figures in modern linguistics, Ferdinand de Saussure. In his seminal work, Course in General Linguistics, Saussure proposes that language is a highly structured system of signs. He calls this system langue, a shared set of rules and conventions. In contrast, parole refers to the individual acts of language use. Within the system of langue, Saussure conceives the boundaries between lexicon and syntax as fluid rather than fixed. This implies that lexical items should not be studied in isolation, but as part of larger structural patterns, which are in turn governed by two types of relationships, syntagmatic and paradigmatic ones. Paradigmatic relations describe associations between words that share formal or semantic traits. Saussure cites the example of words sharing a common root, a suffix, or part of their meaning. These associations are typically not found in actual instances of parole, since they are unlikely to appear together in the same context. Instead, they belong to the speaker's linguistic competence, an implicit understanding of the range of options that our language allows. Syntagmatic relations, by contrast, are defined by the connections between words that appear together in linear sequences. These links emerge through co-occurrence in texts. Saussure provides the example of conventional phrases and idiomatic expressions such as against all odds and God is good. Crucially, syntagmatic relations are not limited to parole. By uttering and hearing the most common ones many times throughout our daily life, we internalize them as part of our langue, which is our language knowledge. This explains why native speakers intuitively recognize conventional phrases even without explicit instruction. A practical illustration of this competence is found in word association games, where one word evokes another based on learned co-occurrence. However, these patterns resist neat classification as they often result from both collective norms and individual variations. For this reason, identifying syntagmatic relations in corpora is not simply a technical task. It also requires cognitive and interpretative work, and a lot of practice. Building on the structural insights of Saussure, corpus linguist John McCarty Sinclair developed a more fine-grained approach to syntagmatic relations as they occur in authentic language use. Sinclair identified 4 patterns of co-occurrence that reflect how meaning is constructed through a habitual combination of words. He refers to this collectively as following the idiom principle. The first of these patterns is collocation. Collocation can be defined as lexical association motivated by use. It describes the tendency of words to co-occur in proximity to one another more frequently than would be expected by chance. Examples of collocation include strong coffee, commit a crime, and utter nonsense. These are combinations that are frequent and cognitively salient to competent speakers. Notice that synonymous expressions exist that are equally plausible in theory, yet hardly ever used in practice. With colligation, we shift attention from word-word pairings to word-grammar relationships. Colligation requires greater classification effort in that it describes the co-occurrence of the word under analysis, which is called node, with a category of grammatical phenomena, such as part of speech, clause types, and syntactic constructions. For example, the verb budge often colligates with modal auxiliaries and negation in declarative structures, as in, the door wouldn't budge no matter how hard we pushed. With semantic preference, we zoom in on co-occurrence of a node with words sharing a semantic feature. A case in point is that of the verb unleash, which is used together with items from the semantic fields of violence, nature, and creativity. As you can see, this preference reflects an abstract pattern, not limited to individual lexical choices, but to types of meaning encoded in nouns, verbs, and adjectives. Semantic prosody, sometimes referred to as evaluative prosody, refers to the evaluative meaning that a word form or phrase acquires through repeated co-occurrence with positively or negatively charged items. It reflects the speaker's attitude in ways sometimes evident, sometimes less so. For example, corpus evidence suggests that while be involved in might occur in either positive, negative, or neutral settings, its near synonym be embroiled in is almost exclusively found in unfavorable scenarios denoting conflict. This phenomenon becomes more apparent when the prosody of an item is violated and a so-called evaluative clash occurs. Returning to our previous example, consider the phrase, "They were embroiled in win-win relationships." That sounds odd, doesn't it? That is because it clashes with our expectations that be embroiled in signals conflict. Depending on the intention of the writer or speaker, observable in the wider context, this clash might be made on purpose, to surprise the reader or hearer with a creative or ironic effect, or it might be simply due to a slip of the tongue. To uncover collocations, colligations, semantic preferences, and semantic prosodies, we need corpora that are carefully constructed, representative, and searchable. In the next unit, we'll turn to the practical side of things and explore how to build them.